Let's look at the latest dashboard on cookie.fund, David. What are we seeing here, basically? Essentially, we're seeing quite a bit of capitulation from some of these tokens' all-time highs. I think the market cap is sitting at, what is it, roughly like 8 billion? Right
7.5 billion. So what was it at its peak when we were doing this episode?
At its peak, it was about 20.5, I believe. Yeah, it just wicked to 20.5, and now we're sitting at less than half of that. So a pretty crazy retrace. I saw a tweet somewhere where it said on average some of these AI coins basically retraced about 60 to 70%. Which, to put things into context, it's not abnormal to see 20 to 30% corrections during a bull market.
In things like Bitcoin and
things like Bitcoin and ETH and stuff. And we all know that like alts typically get hit harder. But to see something like a 60 to 70% retrace, and by the way, this isn't just specific to AI coins. This is across every single sector of alts that we've seen so far. It's just a different market and a different type of cycle. And I don't want to say that this time is different, but this time evidently has been different, David. We've got virtuals pulled up here. I would actually say, relatively speaking, obviously virtuals peaked at, I think, a
very
$5.
High,
a $5. And I think it was like, what market cap was that roughly?
$5 billion, $5 billion token price.
Right,
and we are currently at like 1.4. So I think when people look at like the size and magnitude of the AI agent space, I think the virtuals chart is kind of just a microcosm emblematic of the whole thing. So like November, we were at 50 cents. 50 cent virtual price. January 2nd was the peak at $5, and then we are back down to $1.5, $1.4. If I pull up AI 16Z, is going to do something similar.
Pretty similar,
and I think just like a lot of energy came into the AI agent space. Yeah, way more aggressive. And then it's like, I think people's like reality has caught up with people saying, we have a lot more to build, so capital has flooded in and then flooded out pretty quickly.
I do want to direct. For those of you who are watching, direct your attention to the bottom left of this chart here, right? Which highlights that, hey, this whole meta is only a few months old still, right? We're still literally like AI 16Z came to life at the end of October, right? And then it had this kind of parabolic run up until like $2.5 billion market cap, and then it kind of like crashed. So I think you summarized it really well, David. Like, the crypto AI sector, specifically agents, has seen a huge influx of capital. And we may have, just surged too ahead of time.
We might have gotten a little over our ski tips. We tend to do this as degenerate gamblers.
And it kind of like that Pico top was kind of like when Trump released his meme coin, and then Melania a few days later. And then everyone was like, well, hang on a second. Like, is this the end? Or is this just the start? And then the market got really impatient because, surprise, surprise, the American government didn't announce a strategic Bitcoin reserve immediately and setting them up like immediately, right? Which is crazy to think, right? Like a year back, David, if we had this news, we would just absolutely send. And it would imply that the market has probably priced some of these things in since Trump got elected, right? So it's just like an interesting way to frame things. I know you have AIXBT pulled up here, but I kind of want to direct our attention to a different flavor of the cookie.fund dashboard. They have this really interesting way of framing things, David, which is they're splitting AI coins into meme AI coins and then like infrastructure framework DeFi AI based coins. And why I like this view is it kind of shows us where the attention and capital is going into, and it kind of like informs us of the types of investors, or dare I say traders, that are involved in this sector right now. So number one, David, is meme AI coins. So these might be AI coins that, there's some examples to the right, actually, that will kind of like tell us. So Fartcoin up there. What else have we got, David?
Right. Toshi, which is the Coinbase-based chain meme coin, which apparently has like an AI integration. But I think these are, call these memes that have some amount of AI properties, called sentient memes.
Right, sentient memes. And if we come out of this, we see number 2 is led by frameworks. So this is typically protocols or teams that you and I cover every week, actually,
Yeah.
like AI 16Z.
This is more of the
and
fundamentals.
virtuals.
This is like the layer 1 of AI agents trade.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's worth noting, actually, I kind of want to point it out here. There are very few protocols that show green in terms of like mindshare, certainly not price action. But if we want to kind of like look at certain teams that are bouncing off some of these like lows, we noticed that the largest market cap coin which was able to do this was ARK, right at the top of this, David. And I was kind of thinking to myself, like, I wonder why, because it's not necessarily a small market cap coin, and I would probably put it in the placings of virtuals and AI16Z. I think it's through a few different things. Like one, I think probably it's making a lot of progress on Solana, and Solana is kind of being branded the AI chain or the AI degen chain of this cycle. And I know they partnered with Solana Foundation. We mentioned that last week, actually. So I'm thinking we're probably seeing some momentum there. And, the news hasn't quite caught up because markets are just dumping. But aside from that, AI16Z hit pretty hard in terms of like mindshare and market cap. We're going to kind of dig into a little bit about why that might be a little later. And then Virtuals kind of like holding steady. As we know, Virtuals has decided to expand to Solana. They haven't officially launched their platform just yet, but they're going to be working towards it. So all in all, like, the market is reset. The market is resetting. And it'll be interesting to see how we kind of move forwards over the next couple of months.
I think that resetting word is nice because if you just look at the virtuals chart, it has gone back down to a place. It's much higher, but it feels like it's much down, but further back down to reality, right? Things are like, we are no longer full of hot air. Things are starting to find their closer to a fair price. You can claim that AI agents are just bots. Maybe you're even right. But nonetheless, this industry is like real. It's attracting developers. It is growing as fundamentals. There is like a loose roadmap for the sector as a whole. So I think things have kind of come back down to reality, which is, call it like an internal to a broader secular bull market. A bear market. It's a bear market and a bull market. And AI tokens, AI agent is like the frontier of the frontier. And so it takes like just a lot of things to go right for, I think, the animal spirits to find their way back to AI tokens. But right now we're in fundamental zone.
Well, I mean, I always ask myself, like, am I just in this like tiny miniature bubble? Like, am I even focused on the right things? Am I like kind of like dreaming? I think it's important to look at AI mindshare just as a topic of conversation as a whole. Can you pull up Sammy's tweet here, David, where he kind of shows a screenshot from Kaito, which captures the different kinds of market share. So for reference here, Kaito tracks very, specifically sentiment on crypto Twitter, which is where a lot of people, kind of like get their investment advice from, trade, or just kind of research. And we see that AI is still dominating, Now we've seen better examples of this where AI just takes over 50% of the screen. It's now down to like, what is it? Like 30 something percent roughly, David?
35. It's still a solid like 3x ahead of the number 2, which is memes.
Which is
interesting,
right?
Because AI tokens, by comparison to meme tokens, are getting wrecked in terms of price action.
Yes.
But AI as a conversation piece, as a mindshare piece, is 3 times higher than meme pieces. Yeah. And you can also see that show up in like centralized exchanges. When AI tokens show up on centralized exchanges, they don't necessarily catch a bid. We need more data to follow through on that. But when meme coins show up on centralized exchanges as token listings, meme coins go through the roof.
Yeah.
So there's just a general appetite for meme coins. And it probably relates to the Lindy that meme coins have over AI.
Yeah, there's a lesson there. Not quite sure what that lesson is, but there's a lesson there, which is, maybe people that are just entering the space and wanting to ape into crypto are just they view crypto as this gambling sector. And maybe if they see meme coins, they're like, oh, I don't need to think too much about this. I don't need to read a white paper about this. I don't really need to dig into this.
I just does it laugh? Does it make me laugh, or does it not?
Exactly. And I think that kind of like ties into the financial nihilism that's been pervade across the sector over the last couple of months. I do personally think we're going to shift away from here. I think with the US government setting up a bunch of regulatory frameworks, yesterday they came on and said, stable coins are going to be super important. We're going to build frameworks, I think led by Cathie Woods, that's going to like figure out what all of this is going to look like. I think we're going to see a shift into fundamentals eventually. But one more point I want to make around this mindshare chart, David, is AI has been the dominant category for about a year now. Probably a year and a half, actually. I've been tracking this Kaito stuff since they pretty much launched, and AI just still has been top of mindshare. So there's probably something worth paying attention to here. Maybe it's like an asymmetric trade or whatever that might be. But I mentioned earlier, David, like we should look at like, okay, so the market is dipping. Which token should we focus on? Is everything, going to zero, or are there some things we should focus on? Well, if you pull up this tweet by Deep Value Memetics, Deep Value Memetics, I actually really like this account. It's a pretty small time account. If you guys are listening, just go give it a follow. I have no association with it. I just think they produce some interesting pieces. Typically, they do like long form stuff, but this one I like their little market kind of summary here, where if you look at like large cap coins, obviously you have Fartcoin leading the mimetic AI category, bouncing back strong. And then you had ARK, which bounced back plus 40% off the lows. So it's really interesting to see which coins are being paid attention to. You have a meme AI coin there. You have a framework coin, which is in the form of ARK. And then you have VV and Anon, which kind of sit in the kind of middleware / DeFi AI category, right? And Anon performing strongest in the latter.
Interesting. Is Anon is the token on Base that you can tweet out of the Anon account via ZK privacy app, right?
No, I think this is Hey Anon, David. So
different one. Okay, because that one does not look good. That is a different story.
Not that one. No one. Yeah, right. This is Hey Anon, which is kind of like I kind of like think of it as similar to like what Griffin guys are doing, where it's kind of like an agent execution platform and stuff like that. And then if you look at like the mid cap, so obviously lower liquidity, it's easier to pump and also easier to dump. The mid-cap coins are focused on largely agent execution platforms that are lower in their maturity, as well as agents themselves. So we have like Grift, which is, I believe, Sphere 1's protocol. And then we have Buzz, which is a protocol that came out of the Solana AI agent hackathon, which I was able to help judge. And I saw the team kind of build it out live. And then Moby, which is like the leading kind of crypto alpha agent on Solana. So kind of like similarly competitive to AIXPT on Base, for example. So I thought this was a really interesting kind of thing to follow on. But like we should also look at like inflows, right? If you pull up Elon Money's tweet over here. So what I like about this account is like he always tracks using Nansen, basically like what the smart money is buying. And you'll see that it represents the same kind of bounces that we've seen in tokens that we've just mentioned, right? We've seen ARK, Fartcoin. Griffin wasn't specifically mentioned, so that's probably worth noting. And then Graph. I think like the lower you go down on here, like it's just, a much smaller market cap, so it's easier. But like I would say focusing on the top three gives us a bit of a hint or sign as to what might do the best once this market recovers.
It is interesting to see Fartcoin is 100% a meme coin. You are seeing Fartcoin being talked about in like mainstream circles as an example of just like, well, Dogecoin was funny. It was a cute meme. Haha, Doge.
Yeah.
So therefore, obviously, Fartcoin, like crypto traders, Fartcoin, obviously, you don't even have to think about like that too hard. It just so happens to also be AI. So it kind of makes sense that the meme side of Fartcoin is the thing holding up the price. In addition, and like one day I think this will be like synergistic with each other. But right now I think there's two sides of Fartcoin, the meme side and the AI side. And I think it's the meme side that's actually outperforming here.
Yeah, hot air rises, it's a very reflexive asset. Actually, one of the most reflexive assets in the cycle across all different categories. So super interesting to see. And I know we've spoken a bunch about ARK already, but the reason why I keep bringing it up is it's broken certain trends that hasn't been present in previous weeks. So this tweet that you've just pulled up here shows ARK for the first time ever dominating mindshare amongst top AI agent protocols. Typically, it's always been AI16Z. Typically, it's always been virtuals. And they've had some pretty big news over the last couple of weeks. But for some reason, and again, like I can't quite pinpoint it just yet, but ARK is kind of leading the foray here. And it might signal that the markets are seeing something that isn't so publicly obvious right now.
Interesting. To continue leveling up your crypto game, then you need to get on the Bankless newsletter. It's the world's most popular crypto email and is completely free. Just click below to sign up.